Hi everyone, I just thought I'd share a quick tip today as I think it's quite useful and something not a lot of people actually know about. It's particularly useful for sensor dust. That's when you've changed a lens or something like that in the field and you've got a little bit of dust or dirt on the sensor, you haven't seen it in time, and when you get back home, look at the photos, there's smudges and dirt and things on your photos. This will help you find that and clean that up much more easily, because sometimes they can actually be quite hard to find, particularly if they're quite pale or soft. So this makes it much easier and I think is very helpful. It works in Lightroom or Camera Raw. So if I open it up in Lightroom, this is the image we're going to look at. So this is the prawn, or prawn face as we like to call him. Right up here, right up the top, you can immediately see a couple of these little marks. So this is the sensor dust. This is a streak, which is probably wet dust, and this is probably dry dust because it's much darker and spottier. I changed lenses in the field and wasn't careful enough, and this was the result, unfortunately. I fixed it now, but it's on the photos. So if I scroll down a bit, you can see there's these bits as well, that's dust as well, but it's much, much softer and much harder to pick up. And there'll be others which are less than that, which are harder to find. So actually fixing it isn't that hard, but finding these little pale ones can actually be quite difficult. And you'd have to scroll, like there's another one, you have to scroll right the way around the whole image. And nobody really has the time for that. So here's an easier way of doing it. So we go to develop. What we're looking for first is the spot removal tool, which is this one. Most of you will probably already know this and what it's like. So you just zoom in and move the cursor, resize the cursor so that it's a better size. Just click on it and remove some of these spots. It will sample an area near it and it will remove them. So before, after, before, after. But what if you want to find some of these other ones? These are easy to find. What about those other ones? Well, right down here we have this bit called Visualize Spots. If we turn that on, it's going to create a mask over the image. So it's basically going to turn the whole thing black and white, and it's going to make those spots much easier to find. So if I hit that now, you'll see immediately what happens. There you go. You can see the streaks standing out much more. The spot up here, this one here as well. And if I zoom out, can see how many more of them now are much more obvious, easier to find, and I can adjust the sensitivity by moving this to the left or right, and it'll make them easier to see as well. So now I can just go in and fix those marks much more easily, or find those marks much more easily, I should say. I'm not going to do all of them, but I'll do enough so that you get the idea. I'll do another couple over here. And you just see how much easier that is to find them. And then, a lot of these I probably wouldn't have even seen if I was going across because they'd be too hard to find. But they become much more obvious when I'm looking at them on a monitor later, on a big screen or something, but by then it's too late to really do anything about it. I'd have to go back and edit the thing, it all over again. So if I do that, you can see how much quicker that was than scrubbing around and scrolling and trying to fix it all in there. Before, after, before, after. The other thing which is really good about this is, let's say you've taken a whole sequence of photos, you've done maybe 10 photos or a whole shoot, and they've all got dust on them. You didn't notice at the time, so they've all got dust on them, and you don't really want to go through 10, 20, 30 photos deleting that all the time. What you can actually do is sync these changes across all your photos. So let's go back here. Now if I open this up, this is another 2 photos here, all taken at the exact same time. They've got the same mark, same spot, because the dust hasn't moved, because it's on the sensor, not on the lens. So what I can do is take this one photo, select the others, and then right click, go down to Develop Settings, and then Sync. So if I do Sync Settings, it gives me these options to sync any changes that I want from one photo across to all of the others. And so I can do all of these if I want, or just 1 or 2, or however many I want. So for this, because the only changes I've made to this one photo are to get rid of the spots, I'm going to check None, and then just recheck the spot removal. And this will copy those edits onto those other two photos in the exact same places and should get rid of them. So if I hit synchronize and then have a look, you can see they're gone. And even in the next one, which is in a different orientation, you can see they're gone as well. The problem with this, though, is that, as you can see, it's the sky and foreground are in different places, so you may need to go in and still fix some of this up yourself manually. But that's still much, much easier than going through 20, 30 photos and doing each spot again and again and again. So you just have to go in and inspect it and just see if anything needs changing. But generally it works very well and saves you a lot of time. Anyway, that's it. I just thought I'd share that little tip. It's something I don't think a lot of people know that much about. So yeah, hope that helped, and happy shooting.